All right. So welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
And we got Eli P.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
We got Robbie Digital.
What up?
And today, the album that we'll be revisiting, Volume 1 in My Lifetime, from Jay-Z. It's his second studio album, came after the highly coveted Reasonable Doubt debut. This album featured Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, Babyface, Blackstreet, Teddy Riley, of course, Too Short, Diddy. It had producers from Reasonable Doubt, actually, such as DJ Premier, Ski. It also had Puff. It had some contributions from Stevie J and Buck Wild, Poke and Tone. How do we feel about this album? I know a lot of pressure was on Hov around this time. There was a lot of pressure on this follow-up, and it came after Biggie died. So a lot to follow up, a lot of pressure on him to be that person to kind of step in to be the one that takes over the throne. How do we feel overall?
I love this album. Oh, go ahead, E.
Very mixed reviews. I remember when this album.
For me, there's probably just like a handful of songs that I'll take away from this. It's definitely goes on my list as one of my least favorite Hov albums. But I mean, that's pretty much all I got.
All right, cool. Bob, go ahead.
It was a very interesting place when I first heard the album, just because I remember being in New York at that time and it was a void. We didn't know where hip hop was going to go or what it was going to look like or what New York sound we were going to get. I even remember when A City Is Mine came out, it wasn't well received. It wasn't well received in the city like that, just because it was like you kind of wanted Hov to be the hero, but you didn't want to admit it. Some people were very hard pressed to say, yo, like, we elected you to be that guy and, you know, plant your flag. Volume
1 is one of my fave Jay albums. I know it's not his best or like his fave because of certain reasons, but I thoroughly enjoyed this album because me being a huge Jay fan and like really learning things about him, he wasn't supposed to make another album after Reasonable Doubt. So what happened is they got the deal over at Def Jam, and the stipulation was they was like, no, you have to put out another album. And he was like, nah, I want to run the label. I'm not a rapper. Like, I don't want to do this. And they pretty much gave him whatever he wanted. They pulled out the Brinks truck. So then Jay got this album going. So, you know, in the music industry, you know, you're told like, you know, all right, well, you know, basically Reasonable Doubt was, even though like it was a real album, like in today's age, it would probably be like a mixtape or some shit like that. Like just like how like Pop Smoke had Meet the Woo too. Like it would have been like in that kind of vein, especially because they did it independently on Priority before they went over to Def Jam Universal. So with this album, they gave them so much money. They said, you can have your label, but you have to put out an album. Like they basically made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And they gave them everything, and like they were partners with Def Jam. They weren't like signed to the label, so like they have more creative control. So when Jay made this album, he was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, I'm just going to follow the blueprint that my man did, you know, Biggie. And that's what he did. And that's why, like, you know, he got like, you know, he had the budget for it. So he was able to afford the producers and get, you know, the cool features and stuff like that. That's how they got the clearance from for Babyface, for Sunshine. And you know, it was just really Jay trying to find like balance of the times, but he kind of went too polished. He went a little bit too Iceberg Slim on this album. And that's what the thing was. Like his persona Iceberg Slim reigned supreme on this album and kind of took over a little bit too much. And I think it wasn't enough Lucky Lefty on this album. And that's kind of like the thing that kind of deterred a lot of fans from this album. It felt like, oh man, like he's, you know, I mean, Jay wasn't no grimy street dude, but like a lot of fans felt like, oh man, he sold out. Like they got him, like he didn't figure out the balance. So it just didn't, you know, it didn't work too well. But obviously he figured it out and fine-tuned it with Streets Was Watching. So that all, you know, sometimes you gotta like stumble to like bounce back. And then we got Streets is Watching, then we got Hard Knock Life. So
Yeah, I think that's the reason why I don't like this album, for exactly that reason, because it just sounds a little too polished. And Hove always was able to have like just a nice balance of like real street shit and like knowledge shit, but also like that bravado of that player, that player, I guess, like aura. And it just, I didn't get that from this album. Only like the couple of tracks, which we'll get into, but yeah, I agree with you on that.
all right.
I think for me, this album, it is like Taurian said in a lot of ways, but and also it showed kind of a chink in his armor because, you know, Rocafella was so forward thinking and so, you know, they had like this mafioso do it yourself vibe and everything like that, and it worked for them really, really well. I think where they stumbled with this album was because they kind of tried to go with the flow, and, you know, like we said, Bad Boy was really, really running shit at that time. So I think they kind of coined a sound, and I think Hove was faced in the sense where he was like, well, this is the sound that they want, and also I don't really want to be a rapper. Niggas is like kind of making me rap right now, so I'm gonna just go with this since this is what's working and get the most of this, but also I'm gonna put a little bit of myself in it too in a different way. And I think it bounced back a little bit. But this album has a lot of gems on it. I don't know why Eli is saying 4 or 5 tracks, because I can name way more than 4 or 5 tracks on this album that go.
Yeah, I truly feel like Eli didn't revisit the album. He's just gonna go off now is what we talk about. No shade, but well, I guarantee you we gonna go down the tracks and Eli's gonna be like, I love this song. I love this song.
I mean, hey, listen, if y'all can shift my opinion, that's the point of this. You know what I mean, let's get into it.
Yeah, well, hopefully
All right, so
the album like before we get to the episodes.
All right, so we'll get into the album. The first kicking off the album is the intro. A Million and One Questions, Rhyme No More. It's produced by DJ Premier. Do we have a sample on this, Rob? You're on mute, Rob.
Yeah, I'm on mute. My fault. I didn't want any sound in the background. You have "Let Me Go" by Lattimore, and "Don't Leave Me Lonely Tonight" by Isaac Hayes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great intro, and then this helped kick off Hove's reign of really great intros. Like the 3-part is 3. Would you say, T?
This is one of the best hip hop intros of all time.
Yeah, it's a great intro. And that beat, man, Premier put his foot in that shit.
Pain in the ass. Like I want Pain in the Ass and Jay-Z to do one more album opening together. Like I really want that so bad.
They had us thinking they had something to do. I feel like they did something for 444.
For 444, he was supposed to make his comeback.
I think they scrapped it. I think they did do something and Jay just didn't use it. Like it had to, because I don't think that, because even Kanye like posted something like it was. I think something was done for 444 and like Jay was just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, like he was probably like, I'm not there no more or some shit. I don't know.
Probably so. But yeah, the intro, like him, with all the A Million and One Questions and everything like that, like I just thought that was dope, because at that time rappers wasn't known for getting money like that. Like still like until like 1995, 1996, like drug dealers were making more money than rappers. Like it was rare that a rapper was doing well. Like you had MC Hammer, but he was looked at like a pop star. You know, LL Cool J was doing really good, but like he was a first like rap superstar, like, you know what I'm saying? And Run DMC was doing good, but like Jay had his own money basically. Like, so like he it wasn't a lot of things that like he needed. Like he was never like indebted to the label or anything like that. So him answering all those questions about the rumors about him, him, dating different women, them buying out the bars at clubs and stuff like that, because like this is what they were known for. Like they were doing things and rubbing shoulders with people that rappers weren't supposed to rub shoulders with, or like Russell Simmons was the bridge to that. But like they didn't need, like, even though like Russell was who they looked up to and admired and strived to be like, they were doing things and like sitting next to Russell and they were like, yo, ain't this your artist? And Jay will be like, nah, we his partners. Like I'm not I'm not nobody's artist. Like, we're partners. Like, we do distribution through them. Like, so I just thought that this was a great way to open up the album and basically just address like all the rumors that was going on about him, because at this time, like, Jay was very like, he was very to himself and like very quiet and still shy. Like, he wasn't okay with stardom yet.
So the next track is actually The City Is Mine, which features Blackstreet, and it's produced by Teddy Riley. Yeah. It was very weird to me that he played this, that Teddy Riley played this in his battle with Babyface. I feel like he wanted to just show his range, but I was never a big fan of this song. Never a big fan of this song.
This song, you wanna know what was crazy? At the time, I feel like a dick always saying this. So obviously my mom was a young parent. So my mom was in her 20s during the 90s. So, you know, I was an eavesdropping kid, so I would always hear my mom and her girlfriends talking about music and things like that. So I remember when it was talked about, because Teddy is from Harlem and my mom and Teddy are pretty cool. Like, and they were talking about like, yo, Jay got Teddy to be on his album, and it was a big deal because Teddy Riley is how we like. Well, I mean, Dr. Dre was still Dr. Dre in 96 and 97. But the fact that Jay was able to like get Teddy to work with him on the album was like a big deal, because Teddy Riley and Blackstreet and Guy were huge. So when they were talking about it, I guess like, you know, somebody was in the studio at the time, because she was cool with Dame, and they were saying like, yo, like he's paying homage to Big, like, you know, like he like wrote a letter to Big and like in the song. So they were all talking about it. And I remember like when I heard it, I was like, well, no, I didn't hear it. I saw the video first and heard it. And I was like, oh, this is dope. And as I've gotten older, it is cheesy. And I think another thing that also takes the lore away, like if you see this video before you've seen the movie Usual Suspects, it ruins the movie Usual Suspects for you, because you know, like you know the big reveal at the end. And it is kind of like, yo, Jay, what the fuck are you doing? Like, people are gonna see your video, and then it's ruining Usual Suspects for you. But this also, the video also let me know that like Jay was a movie buff, which he is. Like, he's very into like film and like mafioso shit. So it was cool. But yeah. As I got older, when I was a kid, I thought this was so dope. I was like, oh, he's paying homage to Big. But as I got older, I was like, this is cheesy.
Yeah. That and that's the same way I felt. Like, it's like, I like that he worked with Black. I was a big Blackstreet fan at that time, so it was just like Hove and Blackstreet. Like, all right, cool, but I just didn't like the overall turnout of this song.
Yeah, me neither. I'm cool on this one.
I actually like this song a lot.
I think the hook is really good. I just don't think Hove fits into this. Like, whatever sound this is, whatever vibe this was supposed to give people, I don't think Hove fits on this. I think this would have been better for somebody else. But nonetheless, I'm 100% cool off of this.
I guess it could be nostalgia for me that, you know, like You Belong to the City by Glenn Frey. That's like one of my personal favorite songs. So to hear that sample used, I could have it was a little bit hype, but I did like the references that Hove used in it. Just like on the low, The City Is Mine, like kind of saying like, you know, I understand that we're all mourning, but I don't know if you know, but I've really been the mastermind behind this whole shit for a while now. Like, I didn't have to prove anything to you guys about me being a nigga, being a boss type nigga. And I guess I say that to compare it to, like, you remember like Big's first song being Juicy and it coming out on a major. Now, of course, I'm not being his first song, but on a major, for people to hear that, the struggle song, this inspiration. Hove did not come out like that. Hove came out like that nigga from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like from the very jump. Like, no, I am that nigga. It is what it is. You see the Beamer. You see it with the bug eyes. You see this is not, you know what I mean, crystal. This is crystal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not silver. This is platinum. So it's always been that kind of way with him, that when I heard City Is Mine, he was just confirming what he already knew. Mm-hmm. Whether it was a letter to Big or not, that last verse of him saying like, nah, I've been that nigga. Like, okay, Yeah, but Big knew what it was too. So I thought it was very interesting. Like Hov never had to sell you on a persona. His persona was already there when he started. And I think that's why I like this song a lot.
Solid. All right. We'll get into the, oh boy. We'll get into the next song. Next song is I Know What Girls Like, which features Diddy and Lil' Kim. It's produced by Puff.
Yeah, man.
I hear the size.
This shit is trash.
This song is bad. I hate this song.
This song sucks.
Throw this shit the fuck away.
This song sucks, and I really, really think that, you know, he really entrusted Puff, D-Dot, and Stevie J and the rest of the Hitmen, and it was a poor choice on his part, because this is not him. Like, you know, he didn't need this song, and this song didn't need to be on the album, and Puff is an asshole.
Yeah. Puff what I like to call he best I ever had Hov.
Yeah, he did. He would have never gave this song to Biggie.
Yeah.
He never told Biggie, yo, Playboy, get on this song. He knew, like, yeah. He tried to sabotage it on the low.
Yeah, that's the best I ever had treatment.
Yeah.
That Kanye coined.
Yeah.
By trying to sabotage Drake.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, we can.
I just
like
even the samples
from
bad.
the city is mine going into this shit. Nah, like I'm already thrown off. The album started great with that intro, but City Is Mine and I Know What Girls Like. It's like, bro, why the fuck would you even go off of this? Like, this is for what? Like, what are you doing this for?
I think a lot of the elements of it is like Taurian said, him just entrusting in Puff to give him that sound that was working at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because that sound was working, like that type of shit, that type of element. But this isn't Hov's bag at all. Like
that's all Diddy in them. Like that, that's their vein. But like, because that's 100% their sound. For Hov to just hop on that, it was like
Mace. I feel like Mace would have went off on this.
Mace would have smoked this.
Mace would have went off on this. It picks back up though, guys.
Yes, the fuck it does.
Imaginary Player, track number 4 is produced by Prestige.
Man, Jesus Christ.
Where's the sample from?
The sample comes from Renee and Angela, Imaginary Playmates. Just like our parents would say there's certain songs that you just shouldn't touch and remake over, there's certain songs in hip-hop that should just not be touched. Imaginary Player is one of them. I would never want to hear somebody do this over.
I spit that out. This motherfucker shit.
Y'all got strange money. My money always been the same.
Yo.
I was popping Cristal and y'all thought it was beer. Like, who the fuck? Like, come on, bro.
This took shit talking to a whole nother level and made a lot of rappers upset because, again.
As it should.
Rappers, like, drug dealers used to laugh at rappers. Like at a time, like when they was coming up, like LL Cool J has a song where he talks about, you know, back in the day when he would hang out with like Alpo and Rich Porter, AZ, and they would be like, "Yo, what your label give you? What your label gave you lunch money today? You gonna be able to, you know, buy some Cristal, you know?" And like niggas would like give them chains, like, "Yo, here go a chain, man. I'm about to go to the jewelry store, go get a new one." So then you have somebody like Jay, who has his own bread coming into the label, and they basically trying to give this nigga an advance, and he's like, "Nah, keep the advance. You know what I'm saying? I want my money on the back end." And, you know, like, he's basically telling artists, like, yo, like, how much you getting for an album? Like, what you getting, like, a penny off each record? I'm getting $11. Like, I'm getting $11 a record sale. Like, okay. Like, all right, I go 1 star platinum, you go 5 stars platinum. I'm still bringing home more than you're bringing for each record. Like, he basically came in with a business mind already, and then he was older. And he already had experience in the industry because, you know, he went on tour with Jazzo. Like, he was around Jazzo when he had his deal, and they went overseas to Europe where Jazzo went to record and everything like that. So he already experienced the music industry. So Jay was just more savvy to a lot of things that the other artists weren't. So, like, that's why, like, again, you always hearing about artists saying, like, they was robbing shit. Jay didn't come into the game hurting. His stomach, his ribs wasn't touching. Like, he just didn't. He was like, yo, I'm gonna end up in jail or dead. Let me see if this shit can work and I can go legitimate. And he did, because he had understanding of the music industry. And then he had, you know, Biggs and Dame Dash as his partners. So he was like, I can't lose. So this song, Imaginary Player, just really caps that off and really lets us know what the fuck he was about. Think about how many rappers heard this shit and turned their face up like, who does nigga think he is? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, just talking his shit, because this was putting all them niggas on notes. Like, y'all niggas is broke and I'm not.
Especially that second verse, because Hove came in with that OG energy from the start. So like him coming in like, and now you got these young characters acting like they slung raps, all in they dumb raps, talking about how they fun stack. Like he just like, nigga, like how old are you? Like why are you talking to me like this?
Jay was 27.
When I see them in the street, they don't come with none of that. Damn, Playboy, where the fuck the Hummer at? Where the iced out platinum under that? Those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the fuck you do to that?
That was another thing when niggas was taking their jewelry and getting other shit added. He's like, yo, why you fucking up? It's a Rolex, nigga. What are you doing? Why do you need to add? It's a Rolex.
Oh,
bro.
Yo. And he still looks down at niggas that bust down their rollies.
Yo, it's just that's what I'm saying. Like, he was a very sophisticated person, and there was a lot of things that like he understood, and he understood a lot of things in life. And Imaginary Player is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs because of that. Like, this is just luxurious. It's a luxurious song, and it belittles rappers. And I feel like that's when you're a rapper and you're an MC, like you gotta like come at motherfuckers and just do that shit. There's only a few rappers that didn't get upset by this song. DMX is one of them, but this song doesn't bother DMX at all.
Isn't this a diss song to Mace as well?
Huh?
Isn't this a diss song to Mace as well?
It was, yes. The end of the song.
So, yeah, like I think that was the icing on the cake, because now fast forward a couple years later, when you know, every time somebody sees you and y'all got on the same thing, but it's not the same thing, you always bring up like, yeah, so what's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6, nigga? 30 to 40 grand, cox, I could beat it. Like, that comes up often when you trying to shit on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that one line. Like, what you mean? Like, nah, that's a swingman jersey. This is not a swingman jersey. It's about, you know, $120 difference. Nigga, beat it.
So the next song is actually Streets is Watching. We're on a good streak right now. It's produced by Ski Beats. Love this song. It's a great follow-up. Talking his shit, of course. The production on this is solid. And I feel like this song like this is kind of a prelude to the actual Streets is Watching soundtrack.
Right. Nah, it is. It is. Actually, the story behind when they were like, when they thought everything was done and like everybody was making fun of Jay for the Sunshine video and saying that he went commercial, Shaka Pilgrim, shout out to Shaka, came up with the concept. She was like, yo, like, we got to make sure, like, all right, Jay, stop wearing suits. Like, stop. Like, she just told him, like, to chill for a minute, because they was just like, yo, like, we need to let them know, like, you're from Marcy Projects. Like, you're as hood as it gets. Like, you hustled in Trenton, New Jersey. So Shaka had to, like, brainstorm, and, like, it was her job to, like, be creative. She was like, yo, start wearing a bulletproof vest to your shows. Yo, just wear a white T-shirt and blue jeans and Timbs. Like, that's all you need. Just wear a Yankee hat. All that wearing suit shit and everything like that, that shit is dead. And then when they had to come up with a name, like, she was like, oh, like, Streets is Watching was, like, one of her favorite songs. And she was like, this is perfect. And, like, that's how they got the soundtrack. And, like, they basically just shot video. Like, Def Jam wasn't fucking with them after that, because Def Jam was like, yo, like, we just gave y'all everything y'all wanted and shit like that. They saying you the next fucking Biggie Smalls. And the album sold, but, like, people wasn't on their side. So they took their own money and did Streets is Watching. And, like, if you ever get a chance to, like, watch it, it's great. And that was all Shaka Pilgrim. Like, Shaka Pilgrim is this very, very, very nice woman. Like, she's, like, 5'2", and short, and has, like, a very, very funny sense of humor. You would never think that she was the person to come up with this the concept for Streets is Watching, the movie and soundtrack. She said, I want the most gutter street shit I could think of, and she did it. So I just wanted to say that. Sorry. But went on tangent. Rob, what's the sample for this song?
Sample comes from, I can't pronounce the lady's last name, but it comes from I Got the Lady of Shaif, I think, from 1974. I'll be surprised from you. It's this is one of the earlier samples that I never knew was a sample until I really started reading about the album. I knew it, but I never went to do the due diligence about this sample. But it's an incredible sample.
Her name is Labi Sifrace.
Labi Sifrace. And I mean, what is this probably one of Hov's most quotable first line bars in a song? If I shoot you, I'm brainless. If you shoot me, you're famous. What a nigga to do when the streets is watching. I think that's like up there, right? Like one of his most quotables.
Yeah, it's definitely one of his.
No, it is up there. But I did want to add with the sample that she actually wouldn't clear it unless they promised to censor it. So that's why, like, when you hear Streets is Watching, no matter what version, it's censored. We'll get into the next track, which is Friend or Foe. We're on a good streak, produced by DJ Premier. Friend or Foe 98.
Shout out to Primo, man. Primo was always good for giving Jay. Like, mind you, Primo's from fucking Texas, and Primo is like the architect of New York sound. Like he brought in that new sound, and mind you, like he made his bones in Boston and was able to come to New York and create our sound. Like, boom bap was our thing, and then DJ Premier came, and we was like, nah, fuck boom bap, we going with Primo. So I just thought that was amazing as well for him to be able to capture New York. Like he captures New York very well, and being an outsider is very impressive to me that he does that. If I was a rapper, I absolutely would want to work with Primo. Like,
yeah.
Premier reminds me of the sample. The sample comes from a Car of Love by The Main Ingredient, 1974. Primo's production style reminds me of kind of like I was watching this Batman documentary and the animated series, and they were saying that when they were making the production of Batman, most cartoons were painted on white paper, right? But with Batman, the animated series, they did it on black paper to give it more of a noir look.
Wow.
And revolutionize cartoons just by changing that one look, because they didn't have to add color or dark color because it was already on dark paper.
That's fine.
I feel that's what Premier did it. Like, Premier took one way that we looked at New York rap music and completely changed it. And to know what he was doing back then, like, I think the closest person I heard that was like really mimicking that sound or recreating it was like DJ Rock Raider and the Executioners at the time, because to do samples back then, you had to scratch, record, loop on turntable. So we're not talking about now where you can just put it into a computer and just press a button and it just loops itself. So that amount of talent that Premier had is unfathomable. I don't think we've heard it since either.
That's true. That's true.
That is true. All right.
Yeah, this.
What you got, Eli?
Nah, this to me, I think this is definitely one of Hov's classics. Like in his catalog.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it for me, man. This is definitely the ones I'm taking.
For the most part, like the songs that ended up being like sequels and shit always do really well for him.
Yeah,
he shines in that bag. This is obviously a sample. This is obviously a sequel from The Reasonable Doubt. And yeah, it picks up. It got the lyric references from the first one, everything.
It's great.
So we'll get into the next track. Next track is Lucky Me. Heavy shit. It's produced by Stevie J and Buck Wild.
Yes. I really enjoyed Lucky Me because it was Jay talking about dealing with stardom. And it's funny because a lot of people didn't become Jay fans until Volume 2. So Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1, like, people really didn't get into it. But, Annie kind of like made, Hard Knock Life made a lot of people Jay-Z fans. So later on, when people like heard, like, will say, like, well, Jay-Z doesn't give me really introspective songs, or Jay-Z doesn't really get personal, or, he talks like he's invulnerable. And Lucky Me was probably like the most like vulnerable song like that I can think of by Jay. Like, till this day, I still think that it was like really honest because he's a very private dude. Go to clubs without even thinking, like, and without thinking about like, oh man, does this chick have ulterior motives? Like, is she gonna try to have me on the front page of the news? Is she gonna try to say she having my kid? Is she gonna say I raped her? And it just lets you know how mature he was coming into the rap game, because he was aware of these things, and he knew that, all right, this can happen to me. So it just lets you know he wasn't just some reckless dude not giving a fuck, thinking about things. He was calculated, and he was seasoned, he was older, so he was able to watch other people make mistakes and go through bullshit. So it's really dope. And then, you know, he also says like, yo, I pray that none of my nephews want to be stars, because like, you know, he like his nephews were like his like pride and joy.
And even listening to this song, it shows how Jay has grown. Like even just listening to like the second verse actually from this song, where he talks about how he hates girls with ulterior motives, and he said that's why he's 20 plus with no kids, no son, no daughter, or whatever. It just shows you like where he was at. Like, I mean, if you're a whole fan, you know about his trust issues because he's been open about it like a lot. And seeing where he's at now and seeing the growth, it's one of the best growth stories in rap that we've been able to witness. Because I mean, he's like fully grown up now. I mean, three kids, a wife, and it's just like really dope to see his career like come to fruition the way that it has. I'll say, all instruments by CBJ. Wow, I didn't know that.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool off of this one though. Like I like when Hove gets introspective. I know this is probably like one of the first ones that we got from Hove, but I don't like the production on this one. I like the subject. I like what he gets into, but I'm cool off of the beat. Like, this is one that I can take off. But that's the thing. It's just like lyrically, I've always loved Lucky Me, but it's not a song that I can just like sit back, put this on, and just get lost in it. But like production wise, I'm cool off of this one.
This is this song, fun fact, I did read some time ago that this is Lil Wayne's favorite Jay-Z song. He actually has Lucky Me tattooed on him.
Yeah, he has
like
song. Yeah.
Oh shit.
He probably can't even find that shit. He has so many fucking
Word.
It's over here. It's over here somewhere. We were on such a high, my G's. But the next song, it's Always Be My Sunshine. And it features Babyface and Foxy Brown. It's produced by Prestige.
Okay.
Listen, when I was a little kid, I loved...
Eli, Rob has to tell us this.
Samples come from Rockin' It by the Furious Four and Sunshine by Alexander O'Neal.
Gotcha. And Eli, what was you going to say?
Yo, when I was a kid, man, I remember, like, I used to watch the Box Music Network. I don't know if you guys know about that or whatever. But, what's it called?
Of course we did. Eli. We had cable.
I didn't have cable. That's the thing. I used to get it, like, with the, like, fixing the antenna and shit like that or whatever. Man, listen, yo, when I was a kid, I used to love this song. I used to love the video. I think that was my first introduction to Hove, Sunshine. But then as I got older, I'm just like, yo, yeah, this song is like pretty fucking corny. And then it's super weird in the video because Hove got those big ass lips, pause, and he got that big ass nose. And you see them use like the fish eye lens, and his face is like all up in the camera. He just looks odd, bro. Like this shit is weird.
I blame Hype Williams for this. Again, it was Jay trusting another person who was a huge, fire bearer for the Chinese suit era. So you got Hype Williams and you got Puffy, two of the most successful people in hip hop. Everybody's making videos. You got Hype making videos for Missy, Busta Rhymes, Puff. So Jay is just like, all right, this is what is hot. This is what's selling. Like, this is what's making.
The guy.
He was being he was basically, as our friend Ivana says, he was being a capitalist. So he knew like, all right, this is gonna get me on the radio. This is gonna get me played on BET and MTV. Like, and it did. Like, I mean, this video played like clockwork. Shit, I think I saw it on MTV than I saw it on BET. Shit, and on VH1. Yeah. It was a falter, but I think the funny thing is I don't think that this song was a problem for people. It was the video. Like I never heard anybody like now I do. Like as we're adults, hear people say they hate this song. But when I was younger, like I just remember people saying like, "Yo, that video, what the fuck? Like, what's him and Dame doing?" Like I remember hearing people
There's
say,
a lot of shit going on in that video.
it looks like a bad mushroom trip.
That's exactly what that shit look like.
I don't know, but from what I would imagine, the Sunshine video is what it's like when you do mushrooms, and it's a bad trip.
I would love to see somebody do this video over.
Hov blames this song for "In My Lifetime" not being considered a classic, and he called it the worst mistake of his career.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would love to see somebody do this video over, though.
Yeah, man. I thought about doing that. Maybe Jay blocks them from doing it.
Like, I would love to see, like
with TikTok now, I'm curious, like why like no kid has like done it or tried it.
They probably just haven't come across it yet.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Young Barbecue gonna go off to this shit. Watch.
Yeah.
You about to put in a request?
Yo, I sure will.
Yeah, man. I might have to tell my little brother like, yo, man, watch that Jay-Z video, see what you can do on TikTok with that.
All right, so the next song we'll get into is actually "Who You Wit" too. Produced by Ski Beats.
Yo,
I love this fucking song.
Son, this is one of my favorite Jay-Z videos. Yo, fuck 50 Cent's PIMP video. Like, this is the greatest pimp video ever made, and it's so true to like what was going on. The outfits that they had on for the Players Ball was fucking flawless. Like, I just thought it was really dope what they did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's funny because I always felt like Dave Chappelle parodied this video with the Player Haters Ball.
It was from the Sprung soundtrack. I don't know if you guys remember that movie. That was one of my favorite movies. Yeah,
I remember the movie, but I never seen it.
You remember the movie? Oh, you remember the commercials? Okay. Nah, Sprung,
yeah.
It's really funny because this was a time when Def Jam was like producing a lot of albums or like doing the soundtracks, and none of these songs had nothing to do with the movies, but like they was just promoting them shits, just like how Ain't No Nigga had nothing to do with the Nutty Professor soundtrack. It shouldn't have been on it.
Yeah.
But hey, man.
I mean, Batman Gemma. I mean, for Foxy Brown is Def Jam's How to Be a Player.
Yeah, I'll be.
I'll be
sure.
Mm-hmm.
That was shit though.
But these raps is like I said, Iceberg Slim Hov, like when he was on his cool pimp shit, like smooth nigga, you know. So I just thought that was dope how he had that, you know, that moniker and that character. Like I loved it. It was great.
Did anybody own any Iceberg clothing?
I had an Iceberg t-shirt when I was a kid.
Never, man. I always wanted an Iceberg sweater. Oh my god.
I had some Iceberg jeans. When you cuffed them, like under the cuff, it said Iceberg. And
you was rich.
Sweater. I had a Snoopy sweater. It's Iceberg. It was gray, and it had the Snoopy on the front. That was like.
I hate that clothing brand that try to come for Iceberg. That lot 20.
Lot 29.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
And South Pole, all of them shits. They was here. They was, you know, I ain't mad. Get your money.
Iceberg was fucking awesome though, man. I used to just be on what's it called on Fulton, just looking at like sweaters. I'm just like, man, I could never afford that shit. That shit is fucking, woo. It was like top tier streetwear.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So we'll get into the next track, which is Face Off, which features Sauce Money, and it's produced by Trackmasters.
So Muscala by Manu Dibango, and Hot Pants Road by the Bee Gees.
Oh wow.
Okay. I really missed. I like Sauce Money's contribution to Hov projects. And I really liked Sauce Money at that time. I wish we got more from him. He was like Siegel before Siegel.
I really wish that Sauce Money got his flowers and was kept and stayed around more, man. And I really wish things worked out because him as well as Jazzo was supposed to be signed to Rocafella. And I just think that because they came up with Jay, there was just like they just felt like, nah, like Little Sean is not about to tell us what the fuck we doing? Because people always think that like Jay-Z like hustled in Brooklyn. Like, no, he hustled in Jersey. So, you know, he was becoming who he was becoming, but like when he would come back home to Marcy, he was known for getting money, but like it kind of wasn't like seen, you know, it was kind of more like an out of sight, out of mind thing or whatever like that when he was back home. And I really think that like Source Money, who felt like he was just as nice at rhyming as Jay was, and I can agree with that. And then Jazzo, somebody who like was like his mentor, they both just felt like, yo, who the fuck he think he is? Like, you know, and then he got Dame right next to him popping all the shit. So I just, you know, it just is unfortunate because Source Money was fire. I mean, he wrote I'll Be Missing You for Puff. So like that tells you right there. Like,
Yeah.
So, you know, Source, I just always wanted Source Money to go further because he was really good at rapping. But his debut album didn't come out until like 2000, and it was like he was forgotten about by then.
Niggas checked out.
Yeah. Yup.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that album. I was on like on the Clue mixtapes. I was on the K-Slay mixtapes, and that was one of the dudes that like, you know, if I see his name pop up on like any of these mixtapes that I'm buying, like I knew I was in for a treat. Especially when it comes to his freestyles, man. Source Money had it. Nature was heavy on the mixtape scene too. I think Nature came from like Nas's camp, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong about that, somebody correct me.
Nature's from Queensbridge, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like those two guys. I was on the watch for like Nature and Source Money, but nothing ever came from it. It's kind of sad. But going back to this song, it's a good song. I'm just cool off of it. This is one of the ones I didn't need.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a highlight.
It's okay. It's not all that, you know.
This song.
It feels like filler.
This song actually came from a bet with Steve Stout and Hove, and then this song came out of it. So it was just like quick.
Do you know what the bet was about or no?
It was just the Madden bet, I think.
Okay.
From what I read.
Yeah, Steve Stout is Jay's like
Madden days shit. Back in those days, I was getting it shaken on NBA Live. Ask about me now.
NBA Live is trash. All right.
NBA Live, you're stupid. What?
NBA Live was trash. Well, 2K showed us that NBA Live was trash.
Back then, I wouldn't say live. I would probably say NBA Jam. Not this back far back.
NBA Jam, man, get out of here, Rob.
Well, no, NBA. Well, we won't get into
He's
that.
on fire.
This all day. So, Real Niggas is the next track. Real Niggas features Too Short. It's produced by Anthony Dent. Any sample?
I don't have a sample for Real Niggas by Notorious B.I.G.
Okay.
You can count that, but I really don't need this song.
So listen.
Yeah.
So you're bugging, but I'll say this. We were robbed on this song, and I'm gonna tell you why. Originally, this song, it was supposed to be Hove, Too Short, and Pimp C. So this was the first time that Pimp C turned Jay down. And this also shows that like Jay was very much so in tune with artists in other cities, and he was like a fan and a student because he was a huge Too Short fan because like Too Short is like the original Currency with the consistency of how he releases music. And he wanted the both of them because like they really was talking that shit. And like I said, Jay was really on his pimp player shit at this time. And so when he reached out to Pimp C, like Pimp C was like, "Who is this?" And he was like, "All right, tell him I want $2 million." And
that's crazy.
And Jay was like,
$2 million for a verse is nuts.
Yeah. Like Pimp C was like, if he want me, because like at that time, like, you know, like artists from New York and artists from down, like it just wasn't a thing. But Jay was very in tune with what was going on in other cities. And like Jay was like, yo, like if I do this, like I'm gonna get mad plays in Houston. I know I'm gonna get plays out in Oakland and by the Bay with Too Short. And like they was on their player shit and they street shit, and he just wanted to have a song where he just told street tales. So I really think if Pimp C being on this track really, like I'm happy he was on Big Pimpin', but I really wish that Pimp C was on this song, like thoroughly. And at this time, Pimp C wasn't doing songs without Bun B, so he also felt offended. He was like, "Nigga, we a group. What the fuck you mean you just want me?"
Yeah.
Pimp C.
I mean, my only thing is I like Too Short on this record. I just don't like how Hove sounds on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into the next track then. No need to delay it. Next song is Rap Game, Crack Game. Oh, Rap Game, Crack
Legendary
Game.
track.
It's actually produced by Jazzo. Any thoughts?
I enjoy this song, and then Jazzo is extremely slept on with production. People don't know that he was the person that was able to loop Ain't No Nigga, and it was really hard because apparently it took hours to loop that song, and Jazzo was able to do it. And it's funny because Dame and Jazzo argue over who looped it, and Dame says that he's the one who did it, and Jazzo was like, "Motherfucker, you've never touched any beat making machines in your life." But according to Dame, he said he did it, and Jazzo says that he did it. That's why Jazz gets the credit, and Dame says he don't give a fuck because he executive produced the album. But this song, I just
it's off beat.
Yeah, I just think that it's incredible that Jazzo is like, it's just weird because even though his rap career didn't take off, I really think that he could have probably become like a really amazing rap producer, and he just, after shit fell through with him and Jay, he just said fuck it.
Yeah.
I really would
much,
have produced. I think him producing beats should have been like his thing, and I think he should have worried about a production deal versus becoming a solo artist. Because you think about it, he was already like 30 years old when Jay was 27. What the fuck was he thinking?
So this also has the Nas sample on it, right? Right, Rob?
I didn't have a sample for this. If you have it, you can give it to me.
Doesn't this sample?
Samples Nas. It samples Outkast. And I forgot the third sample, but yeah, it's
yeah, I do. Flop by Ohio Players, Represent by Nas, and then my intro to Let You Know by Outkast.
Yeah. So this is the second time that he sampled Nas, and Nas wasn't even fucking with him at that time. If you,
I wouldn't either. You fucking my baby moms, like.
Yeah. So. but yeah. So this was another Wyben.
Somehow she made her way to me, so.
All right. So this also was another solid one. That I really like from Hov. I think the placement, actually going through this album now, is just maybe 3 songs. No, 2. Yeah, 3 songs that are just oddly placed and didn't have any business being on this album. Because it's a really, it has very, very strong points.
There's a couple of songs that don't belong in this album.
A couple means 2.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not that they don't belong here. I think they're just misplaced, to Regg's point. If these songs would have played back to back, we would look at them different.
If we really chopped the fat off this album, we made this album an 11-track album. It's a bona fide, undeniable classic.
I agree.
Because what is this album? 15 tracks?
This album is 15 tracks.
15 tracks. We take off 4 tracks and make an 11-song album. It's a classic.
Agreed. But yeah. Any other thoughts on Rap Game, Crack Game?
Keep it. I'm good on. I like this one.
I like it, but
who produced? Wait. Who produced this one again?
Jazzo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're keeping this.
All right.
That's it. Moving on
to the next one. Next one is Where I'm From. It's produced by Ron Amen Ra, I want to say, and Lawrence D. Angeletti.
Yeah, that's D. from the Hitman. It is one of, and that's why Puff always is using this shit. That's why Puff always trying to use this sample. But I love this song, and this song, and it's to me like this song. It should be his New York City song. Like, I hate the song with him and Alicia Keys. Like, he doesn't even need to perform.
I hate that song.
Everybody hates that song at this point.
Yeah, but nah, this song and like Marcy Me, like I like battle with, because like Marcy Me is like his more polished version of it, and it's like the Marcy Me is more like, okay, this is my mom's version of, you know, loving like where you're from and stuff like that. But like where I'm
Marcy Me is a beautiful song.
yeah. But where
Sample comes
I'm
from.
not from Brooklyn. I think I've probably been to Brooklyn in my lifetime, maybe 30 times. But yo, this really makes me feel like I'm like walking around in Brooklyn. Like, I love this song. Yeah.
I think there's certain. First, I'll give the sample. So, sample comes from "Let Your Hair Down" by Yvonne Fair.
Like you said, Rob, the production is very, very eerie. It's a mainstay. There's nothing else to say about this song. It's a classic song.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And then he gives that infamous line, "Who's the best MCs? Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas." And
Yep.
it solidified what, like, you know, the barbershop arguments. And, you know, a lot of people, I got a quick story. So I remember when I went to college in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was down there, you know, champion Jay. And at that time, the Carter dropped. This is 2004, so it wasn't even the Carter 2 wasn't even out yet. I don't believe. Yeah, the Carter 2 wasn't out yet. And you know, people were just talking about hip hop, and this is like the beginning of my like hip hop arguments and stuff. And I'm down there with a bunch of Florida dudes, and in Florida, apparently like Tupac is like Jesus. So they was like, how dare he not, you know, mention Pac? And I was like, well, you know, in New York, like, you know, Pac is not like super like lyrical. He's not out rapping nobody. And they was like, what? Like, you ain't here hit him up? And I was like, yeah, he was really disrespectful. I was like, you know, I was like, did you hear who shot you? And they was like, that's not about Pac. And I was like, is it? And like, you know, I was just saying like, yo, those three rappers like are surgeons. They're, you know, like Biggie, Jay, and Nas are surgeons. I'll say, you know, maybe Pac is a dentist.
Said Pac is a
veterinarian.
dentist.
Veterinarian. Like he's a doctor until doctors show up.
He's kind of like straight to the point. You need your teeth pulled? All right, here it goes. Like, you know, he gives you exactly.
How real is this? And you're like, he's telling you like, oh, y'all want street shit? Hold my drink. I'm gonna give you street.
It's just what he was doing was really just telling everybody's story in every hood across the world. You can tell that on those particular songs that weren't favored, that Jay kind of took a back seat and let them take the lead. But when Jay took the lead, was in full control, you could tell. So I think that's also another problem, is that it was very obvious that what Jay was trying to do, like trying to get a radio single or try to get a radio hit. And he realized that he had to learn what worked best for him to do that. And I think it worked out really well.
Next song is You Must Love Me. It's produced by Nasheem Myrick. Another really sad song on this album. Where's this sample from, Rob?
Ooh, what I've been waiting for by the OJs.
There you have it. And this song features Kelly Price. Whose vocals always reminded me of Faith Evans' vocals on this song.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is also a very sad song. Like Jay Hope talks about, you know, he basically apologizing to his mom. He talks about his brother who he shot, which was like the biggest revelation from this song for a lot of whole fans. And his ex-girlfriend that used to, like, you know, smuggle to work. You know what I'm saying? How we feel about this song?
Shut your brother, my nigga. That's crazy.
I love this. Another introspective song where he was, you know, vulnerable and being honest. And it's really funny because so this song came out in 97. So then Jay-Z put out Decoded, and then they made it seem like it was headline news because he put it in the book. And I was just like, you know, I always have to like remember, one, my age, because, you know, I was 10, 11 years old. And then two, I have to remember that like I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, and that if you're a casual fan, you probably never heard of Volume 1. So when people were saying like, oh shit, he really shot his brother Eric, like I was like, yeah, like he said that in 97. But like people finding out about it in 2006 was just hilarious to me, that he already talked about it. And then people trying to figure out like who is Eric, because he always talks about Mickey and Annie, but he doesn't talk about Eric that much. I really, really enjoyed this song. Like as far as being a rapper, like I feel like there's certain songs that you just have to make. And like the way this song even like opens, like with the prayer and everything like that, like you could tell like Jay was really dealing with some demons on in his life. And I think that there were times where like Jay was just like, yo, I've done so much bad shit. I gotta be special because I should be dead or like and doing life in prison, you know, because these are people that he loves, like near and dear to his heart, like, you know, are a part of his life. And like there were things that like he did to them and like it didn't matter, like they still loved him and looked at him like loved him unconditionally. So, you know, very interesting and very interesting.
It is one of those essential songs from a rapper that's ascending the way that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll get into the next song. Next and last song, which is Wishing on a Star. Features Gwen Dickey. It's produced by Trackmasters. Is there a sample, Rob?
Yes, Wishing on a Star by Atlantic Star.
There we go. Yeah, I never really...
I'm good on this.
I like it. I never really not.
Yeah, I never really liked this song. And the chorus...
I'll let y'all sit on it, then I'll say why I love the song so much. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I never really cared about this song. I didn't really like that sample. It is reminiscent of like Reasonable Doubt type Hove. But yeah, no, I don't fuck with this song. I don't.
Yeah.
If I want to get into my early Hove bag, early '97 Hove bag, to be specific, I'm just not going to this song.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good on this one. Like the Trackmasters, they were like Trackmasters, all on the fucking track, and I'm good on this one. I'm good. This one and the last record.
I love the version with there's a Janet Jackson version that I enjoy. What she
You
sings.
had that?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. What Janet is singing.
Yeah, send that because I need that.
But I just love when Jay gets into his storytelling bag, and on this track he does it as well. And Jay learned from Biggie when you rhyme, like, you know, some rappers like they tell like whole stories, and Scarface is like known for that. Where Biggie, what he would do is switch up his stories. And even though Jay was older than Biggie taught Jay a lot about making records. And if you listen to a lot of Jay's songs, he tells like multiple stories in the raps. So like, what song is that off of Dynasty, where he basically tells 3 different stories, but people think it's all one story, but he's telling like his story.
Meet the Parents.
No, that's Blueprint.
No, that's Blueprint 2. That's Blueprint 2.
Blueprint 2, but that's a good one too. But what basically, there's a song where Jay's telling like a story of his, a story that Dame told him, and a story that Biggs told him. And he purposely did that because they all kind of were similar stories, and people think that he's telling a story about a girl for him, and like no, like he's just telling different stories about how like they broke women's hearts, and you know.
That sounds like, is that Soon You'll Understand?
Yeah, Soon You Understand. There you go. So yeah,
that's a legendary song.
He's telling a story that Biggs told him about like a girl, you know, like he was able to do things like that. He could have a conversation and actually turn that conversation into a song. And so with this record, I just thought like, you know, Jay was doing the same thing, and he really put into focus what Big taught him. And it was like it was kind of like a proven like science, because obviously like Biggie was making like hit records, and then Biggie was helping Puff make records, and then he's coaching the Locks and coaching Mace, and then crafting songs for Lil' Kim. So it's like, even though Big is younger than him, he's able to like Big was able to tell him like, yo, I'm telling you this, it works like for fans, because it gives you more flexibility to really expand stories. Like, because a person can't get bored if you're telling just about yourself. Sometimes you might not be as interesting as a person next to you. And like, you know, that's what the gift that Biggie was able to give to Jay. And, you know, Jay looked at Still, Sharp and Still, and I'm pretty sure it was so many gems that Jay gave to Big. But, you know, that was something that was, like, really meaningful to me, with me learning that about how, like, Jay rhymes. Because sometimes I would listen, and I'd be like, yo, this story don't make sense. Or, you know, or I'd be like, Jay only has 2 sisters, you know, or I'd be like, damn, Jay's brother, like, yeah, he like did drugs here and there, but like it wasn't like that. Like, and then I'll do my research and find out like, oh, he's telling one of his friends' stories, or you know, someone a fucking article that he read in the Daily News today. Like, you know, like that's just how rapper Jay was.
I think Kanye kind of adapted that too, where like Kanye would talk about some shit that doesn't reflect on his life at all. Like it'll be something like on like he did on All of the Lights, where he's like, I slapped my girl, she called the feds. Like that's not reflective of Kanye. You said what?
Rick Ross wrote All the Lights. Like he gave Rick Ross the beat, and Rick Ross wrote All the Lights. And Kanye liked it so much, he was like, "Nah, I'll take that song. I want that." And Ross was like, "All right, I'll write you something else." And he was like, "Nah, it's mine now." But We the Roses is something that like Kanye did. Like even though We the Roses was about his grandmother, We the Rose there's two verses in We the Roses, and one verse is about his grandmother, and another verse is a friend's story about his grandmother. So I think that was cool too. Yes, Regg.
I think the most famous one is 99 Problems, though, right?
Where Jay's telling different stories, yes.
Yeah. All right, so that concludes Volume 1 in my lifetime. I'll just start off by saying I'll give this album a 4. It's not a classic.
4 out of what? 5 waffles?
Yes.
Damn, bro.
What? That's too high for you?
In my opinion, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get to your rating. This is mine. I'll give this album a 4. I think Hove. I'm glad he didn't fully buckle under the pressure of the bad boy reign at the time, and he was still able to get off some great introspective stories in this album. This album has some really, really, really high points, like I said before. And then the low points is like, oh, why did you make that? You know, and it's like we said before in reference to it being 15 songs. If 3 or 4, I'll say 4 songs on this album weren't on here, and it was just, a solid 11-track album, it'd be great. It'd be flawless. I mean, it has its flaws. A lot of shit was weird at that time for Hov. I mean, Big had just died. It was a big readjustment period, I feel like, for him. With all of that considered, and with what we got, some great rapping on this shit, and I'll give it a 4 out of 5. And the songs that he has on here that are standouts are songs that he still performs to this day. So 4 out of 5, I think, is solid.
Agreed. I as well give it a 4 out of 5. Waffles. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoy this album still. I listen to this album a lot. Reasonable Doubt is what I always go back to, but I always listen to Volume 1, and I just enjoy what Jay was doing because I kind of enjoyed Jay's earlier raps versus his raps now. And Imaginary Player is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs ever made. So It just did it for me. This time period for Jay was just really dope because, like I said, I mean, I also hold this album very near and dear because he kept rapping. Like, he was going to fucking leave us, y'all. Like, I don't think people understand this. Like, he was going to stop rapping, man. He was going to just get on his Master P shit and just run the label. Like, he really was on some like, yo, I'm not a rapper. Like, rappers don't make money. So I'm really thankful that he's rapping.
It always blows my mind knowing that Hov was not going to rap past Reasonable Doubt. And you get this album, and Torn, you done or no?
I'm done, yeah.
All right. So it always blows my mind that, like, you know, he was supposed to stop rapping after Reasonable Doubt, and then we got this album, and then going back to this album. The reason why I rated a 3 is because lyrically, this album is amazing. Lyrically. But production-wise, there's a lot of shit that I could take away. And to know the fact that Hov was supposed to retire after this album, where it's just like you have, and going back to what you said, Torrin, it's just like Imaginary Players. Hearing Imaginary Players and knowing that Hov was going to retire after Reasonable Doubt, it doesn't make any sense because for him to call himself, oh, I'm a businessman, I'm not a rapper. It's just like, dude, Imaginary Players, clearly you are a rapper. It is impossible for you to see otherwise. And for you to say that type of shit is just like, dog, like, get the fuck out of here, get in the booth, and do what the fuck you do. Don't give me none of this businessman shit. Like, nah, like, but that's my rating. Like, I give this album a 3 lyrically, but production-wise, this shit is a fucking a 0.5 if that's even possible.
All right, cool. Let's get it, Rob.
I'll say I'll give it a 4. Imaginary Players makes me give it a 4.
Yeah, like I said, I understand why the album gets like the backlash that it gets, but is Jay, man. Like even this album
Yeah, it's fucking Hov.
this album cover is just hard as fuck, and I just think it's cool. And I love looking back at this and like seeing Jay now, and just knowing like how much this man has evolved. Like we've really grown up with Hov, yo. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's evolved from like being like this clean cut dude, like making sure everything is like in line and shit, to like now like being like this carefree hippie dad, and I just love that shit. I just really
That's exactly what Hov is. Hov is a hippie dad for real.
fucking hippie dad now. Like he actually did what J. Cole was trying to do and did it better. Like even with his hair, like everything, man, he's just fucking chilling, man.
Yeah.
He even figured out how to make it work with wearing a fitted over dreads, bro. That's crazy. Like so, I just like
I don't know how he did that. Like
he's still doing that.
Yeah, every time he has a hat on, I'm like, yo, how the fuck is he?
Yeah.
Because like I debate sometimes with myself on whether or not I would ever get dreads, and I'm like, yo, if I was to get dreads, I don't know. I like fitteds, so like, how would I even? If I was to get it like that, I don't know how I'd be able to
both
do it.
doing it. I'm thinking about it now too. I'm letting my hair grow, and I just be like, put my hats on. I'll be like positioning them and shit. I'm like, yo, Jay really got it down, man.
Yeah,
It's really annoying how well crafted his hair looks, that he can really pull off these looks.
So with the 4 of us, we have 3 4s and 1 3, so that makes it a 3.5. It's an enjoyable album. You know, it's just not, it's not undeniable. But I even Jay says that, and he has a lot of regrets with this album. But yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right, so that brings us to the end. I am First Class Regg.
And I'm Taurian B.
And we are out of here. Peace.
All right, see you guys later.